But yeah, it was OchoCinco on the Nightcap podcast. Steelers were brought up, or quarterback situation was brought up, and he just said, a little birdie told me that Russell Wilson wants to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Did he lock it in that he's gonna sign in Pittsburgh?
He said a little birdie says Russ
or
to
he
Pittsburgh.
just wants to go there. His interest.
Nah, he was like,
I don't know the exact verbiage.
Little
but
birdie was like, yo, Russ to Pittsburgh is gonna happen. He was like, that's what a little birdie told him. It's gonna happen. Russ to Pittsburgh. He was like, dang, all right.
I mean,
well, that still boils down to kind of what we said earlier on. If Russ, what's the number that he's willing to take? Because it only works if Broncos release him, which it does look like they will do. So now it's,
how bad do you want to be in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, and for Pittsburgh, how bad do you want him here?
Right.
Because it goes hand in hand. It's like you're not gonna just come for crumbs. But we also, if we don't have to break the bank, we don't have to break the bank. So
because there is something that comes with Russell Wilson where you might have to just give up a little bit of power.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, he is that dude. Like there's a presence that comes with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he's earned it. Yeah.
Do you want that as the Steelers right now? And I. Listen, Russell Wilson is a proven guy. He's a winner. He's a Hall of Famer. So I'm not saying that as like a negative, but it is something to think about for sure. It's especially if you believe in Kenny Pickett that he can develop into a Russell Wilson like player. Why not just stick with the guy that you have and build it in house?
Well, and that would also boil back to the timing part of it too. You know, if you think he could do it within the next year to 2 years, then you lean in on it. If you don't, you think it's going to take 4 or 5 potentially, then maybe this is how you expedite the team success without, having to risk that for the Kenny development. The one thing I do like is this. I do know, I'm sure some people get annoyed with the QB talk, or the different rumors that pop up. But when you think about it, man, you want your team in the place that we're at right now, right, where we have a lot of uncertainty still at the position. It's not a bad thing to be linked to a lot of these quarterbacks, because to me, the same way we looked at hiring an offensive coordinator, right, and we said we don't want to just promote from within, we don't want to just go with the next whatever cheap sign in. It's like, yo, can we actually interview some people? Can we actually take our time and see what gives us the best option? And we talked about how, a Kingsbury or Arthur Smith, or it's a Gerard Johnson, or it's a Ben Johnson. All these different names, the different interviews, we liked it because we're saying, man, we're building up this beautiful list of different caliber coaches, right? Different dudes that are experienced, medium experience, not experienced, had success, failed and came back, only had success, really young. That's the exact same thing we're doing here with quarterback when you think about it. Kirk Cousins, right, in his camp. Russell Wilson, right? We talking about the Justin Fields stuff. Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, the draft. It's like, yo, we should be doing this. We should be hearing teams or players saying that, hey, man, I talked to the Steelers, or the Steelers will link to this team, or the Steelers link to this player, because that's letting us know they're actually doing their due diligence, and they're not just saying, hey, we're happy with Kenny as is and we don't need to even look anywhere else. You at least want them to be doing some of this due diligence. So for me, I'm kind of liking where we're at with it, and it still doesn't validate or, cut away from what else is out there in terms of, okay, well, this guy said that they're linked to that team. That could still very well be true, because right now, everybody's talking. It's going to be even more so next week at this combine where you having them GMs in the building with them agents and them other teams. It's like, hey, bro, what's it going to take for a Kirk? Hey, what's your thoughts on Justin right now? What, you ready to move on? Caleb just walked by. How you feel about Caleb? You seen Drake May, right? What do he look like? I think that's what you want, though, man. Let's see, man. All right. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that whoever we settle on is our best option, and that we actually feel confident. It wasn't that we just settled or it was just given to the dude for the sake of being given to him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I like that. I don't think a lot of fans necessarily like that if we still decide Kenny Pickett, though.
Yes, I get it.
I like that. It's like it's fine because I think Kenny has opened the door up, and we are just flat out trying to improve our team. So that's why I think some of these hypotheticals are legitimate. Like, they're valid conversation. There's a reason we're having them. Yeah. But if a player is talking about potentially wanting to come to the Steelers, or just all these links are happening, and the Steelers maybe are taking it somewhat serious and just saying like, all right, this guy's available. He's like, should we? And having those conversations behind the scene, I like that, and I even like it more from the standpoint like if they do pick Kenny Pickett, it's like they must really believe in him. Then they went through that process, thought it all through. It's like I think Kenny Pickett could be that, so let's just stick with him. But again, I don't think fans in general are gonna like that because they're gonna just think Steelers settled.
Yeah. Because I look at it like when we drafted
They're
Kenny.
just being stubborn.
Think about when we drafted Kenny. We talked about all the other quarterbacks that were out there. But
yeah.
when we picked Kenny, it said a couple of things. It's like, yo, they knew that this was their guy. They had the option to get any of these other guys. We did not settle. We did not wait. We went and called our shot. I just think of with some of these other guys. Heck, we talk Russell Wilson, right? And everybody is, hung up on the money part of it. How the heck would we know if he's going to take a vet minimum if you never actually pick up the phone and talk to him? Right? So when a report comes out that we have interest in a Russell Wilson, that can literally be that right there. But how could you ever even get that far if you don't even pick up the phone? How do we even know what a potential Kirk Cousins number is if you don't even pick up the phone? We've already said that these players are more proven, but we're just simply saying in the sense of you do want to kind of go through that. But it could still very much come right back to, we think that Kenny is still the best option. And honestly, if that's what they decide at the end of it, cool. But make sure that you at least go through this process like we doing it right now. And I do like that.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about this process versus the offensive coordinator search is we're actually never really going to know what's happening behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Where, like, they'll flat out say Steelers are interviewing this offensive coordinator.
Right. We just know who's linked to who, and unless a
that's
player...
It's just Chad Johnson saying this or Adam Schefter saying XYZ.
Because it's a touchy thing, man. When you're in free agency, when you're dealing with negotiations, it's very weird. You want leverage, so certain things you want leaked, certain things you don't want leaked. Certain things, just like, if I'm talking to this team, I don't want you to know I'm talking to this team. You saw what happened with
the Browns and Watson and how Pitts Baker got. Yeah.
So it's like a lot of that happens, man. You'll be going to negotiations and having a full-on convo with this team over here. And you like, bro, this can't get public, though. Because now that's going to make me look bad, or it's going to tip my hand to this team, or it's going to let that team know that I'm willing to go for this number when I told them.
It's going to piss off the quarterback.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so it's a lot. We saw with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Remember with Lamar a year ago with the whole franchise? It was like, yo, it's more than just, let me just call him. Like, you got to keep some of that hush-hush. So we're not going to know. Mm-mm. But in terms of are they happening, I do feel like these convos, man, are legitimate.
And it's also just nice to hear that Steelers are a popping franchise.
Absolutely. That means there's interest because there are other
teams
that need quarterbacks,
we can't be that old school or that like behind the times, right?
Mm-hmm. We still out there in the convo. We in the dance.
Right.
Yeah, listen, we ain't the only team that need quarterbacks, bro. We not the only team. So the fact that we getting linked, though,
I'm sure all these dudes would pick, like, out of the whatever it is, maybe 5 or 6 teams where quarterback conversations are happening right now. We got to be number one. You got, like, Raiders, Falcons, who the hell else?
Patriots.
Yeah, they're taking us.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll probably draft a guy, I'm guessing. The 3
probably.
Daniels or May.
But our situation is still, I think, the most stable and the best out of all of them.
Absolutely.
If you need a quarterback scenarios,
Absolutely.